Hey everyone, welcome to my honest experience on Supermodel of the Year Part 3. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about the third episode essentially that I was on, which was the underwater ramp walk. Now this particular task was pretty challenging. I'm going to get into the details of what led up to it, but just know that it was not a very easy task and some girls did it really well. I'm going to tell you all about it. So let's rewind a little bit, right? If you haven't checked out part 1 and part 2, please check that out first because it'll give you a sequence of continuity to follow. If not, you like to jump right in, then you can join us in this video. So in the last video, we left off at the finishing of the zipline task and the girls that got shortlisted went ahead into the next task, which was the truck task. So while the girls went ahead and they were doing their thing, the few of us that did not get selected for this task had to stay behind in the model house. So I was staying back that entire day along with 3 other girls. And for me, like I was saying in the previous video, it was a very tough and reflective experience because I was like, how can I fail? I have been avoiding fear of failure and trying to stay away from failure essentially and, being in the fear of failure my entire life. And now here it is right in front of me on a public platform. How is that possible? Because when I was in school and college, I would do everything to avoid failing. I never failed a test. I was always top of the class. I did as many sports, cultural activities as I could. I was captain, prefect, etc. So you get the gist. The kind of conditioning that I had was to win. I win. That's it. How am I losing? It was like I couldn't understand it really. And this was also a point in my life where I had just come back from studying in London and I did really well there. My dissertation was, awarded, etc. So I was in a place where I was winning. And I was at a real, I think I was also a bit arrogant because I was so, yes, I'm doing it. And then I think, the fall comes, pride comes before the fall. That's literally what happened. Because by the time I reached this show, I really thought I was it. And, I think it was a way to humble me and show me that there's so many things I'm not the best at. And that's okay. And I need to learn and I need to get better and accept that I can have flaws and that I can fail. But what matters is how I get back up. So this was a very important journey. And that day staying back after the first task was gut-wrenching in a way. It was really difficult. And I remember thinking to myself, now, no matter what happens in the second task, I'm really going to do it. Like, I don't care what the task is. I'm just going to make it happen. So I was feeling that vibe and I was like hyping myself. I was talking to myself. I said, come on, you can do this. But the thing is, you don't know what the task is, right? So it's difficult. It's like, how do you prepare for that when you don't even know remotely what skill set will be required, right? You don't really know. And of course, all of us had modeling experience, but that's different from doing tasks that are almost like stunts that require a certain level of adventure seeking and ability to perform in these kind of environments, right? And also, these tasks are thrown at you. You don't know about them before. So if you're someone like me who really likes to plan, structure things, prepare and know things in advance, these tasks are not it because they're spontaneous in the moment. You have no time to prepare. So it's like the opposite of a planner's personality for the contestant at least. The production obviously knows what's coming, but as a contestant, you know nothing. So this was my mindset that, okay, whatever happened in the first task has happened. Let's go with a clean slate into task number 2 and let's see what we can perform. Now, when we were heading to this task, we were asked to wear our swimsuits inside. So we already realized a little bit that maybe it's something to do with water. We'll have to find out. So we were on the bus and so this is the thing. When I lose, right, my mood goes off. I think I've improved now after that show. It's been almost 2 years since the show and I've improved a lot. But usually when I lose, I sulk, right? Because I'm like, how did I lose? So now, after this task, I was also upset. I was sulking. I was not very fun to be around. You can ask some of the other contestants. My moods would go up and down because I was losing. Then I was trying to balance myself, then I was losing. So I was not in a very good space. I had like, my energy was low, and people were trying to cheer me up and be really nice to me, which was so sweet, but it wasn't, I was just low on my own because of the loss. Then anyway, we reached the gymkhana that the pool was at. And they told us that, okay, you know, these are the swimming costumes. They assigned each of us different swimming costumes, designer wear ones. Oh, wait. No, okay, one second. That came later. First, we were introduced to the task in our normal costumes. We went to the pool and we had no idea, right? We just knew something to do with the pool. We go to the pool and then they tell us that your task is to walk underwater. So they laid out like a ramp and they wanted us to walk all the way. It was pretty deep. It was all the way in. I think, how many feet was the ramp? I think 4 feet, but pretty deep, pretty wide and lengthened. And we had to go all the way. And when you reach the tip, you will be completely submerged basically. So you have to rely on your breath and pretty much on your ability to walk in water to do this task. The thing that was going to help us in this task was weights. So there were weights that were placed on our ankles that would hold us down and help us to walk. So we were told this, and obviously we were given protection. We were given the right equipment to wear. There were also scuba divers and trained divers around us. In case anything happened, they would jump in and make sure we were okay. So that way, it was a very protected environment in terms of your physical safety, right? Now, whether it was protected in terms of your emotional and mental safety, that's a totally different question. But yes, physical safety was there and we were taken care of in that sense. So then we came in and they told us the task. They gave us opportunities to even experiment with that gear. We were told we could either just go without the gear, holding our breath, or if we needed it, they would give it to us and pump oxygen, let us breathe and go back. So it was all about presence of mind, controlling your breath, balancing, floating, and walking underwater. Now, for me, I know how to swim. Along with that, I have, done a lot of swimming. But the thing is, weirdly enough, I can swim, but for whatever reason, I can't cycle. So this is even when we used to go to water parks, and this has happened to me. We were in a water park in the US, and we did like a slide, and then you fall into 4 or 5 feet deep water, and I was younger, and as you fall in, you need to cycle to stay up if your legs are not touching the ground. So I don't know why, but I somehow am not able to vertically cycle and stay up. But if I'm horizontal doing like a freestyle or a breaststroke, that usually happens. So I have a weird relationship with swimming because I didn't learn it from anyone. I just taught it to myself in the pool with one of my friends once. So it's just come with trial and error. I haven't learned the techniques properly. And so clearly I'm deficient in some ways in the swimming aspect. And vertically being afloat is one of them. So anyway, we were given all this information and then we went away to change and come back into the pool area. And then one by one, right, we had to go in. We were also wearing designer wear, right? Because this was modeling. We had to showcase a brand. So we had to... The brand we were modeling was waterproof makeup. So we had to make it look very aesthetic and, do a lot of hand movements and then go underwater and make it look fantastic. So you can't be scared. You have to make it look good. So I saw a couple of people doing it. They did pretty well, especially the girls who knew how to swim were doing a good job. Along with that, Priya did really well. Even though she did not know how to swim, I think, again, desire to win pushed everything, and she kind of held her breath and just went towards the end. And all of us were so amazed. Until date, sometimes I feel like I don't know how to do this. I remember how she did that. And I'm like, she can do that. She didn't know how to swim. Like, it was pretty cool. And anyway, so my turn comes. And one thing I was thinking about, I don't know if this affects it, but one thing I was thinking about, at the time I weighed much more. I'm now about 55 to 57 kgs. I was 10 kgs more or 12 kgs more. I was 65 or 68 at the time. And a lot of the girls were lighter than me. I was slightly heavier at the time. And they were putting the same weight on all of us in terms of the ankle weights. So one of the things I was wondering is, shouldn't it be a bit heavier for me because I have to sink down lower? Is this weight going to even hold my weight down? But they said that they've figured all that and they have only those weights. So then I was like, okay, fine. So they put the weights on and I went into the pool. And I was a bit scared. And also, I was telling myself that to hold my breath for longer, I will try to do Kapalbhati, which is a Kriya. And then, so when you finish Kapalbhati, you get a very long pause in your breathing naturally. So I thought maybe if I use that technique and I get this long pause in my breath and I don't feel like breathing, I'll make it through. Like, I'll just pause my breath and go through it. So that's what I was planning, and I was doing it a bit, and I entered the water. But as soon as my legs, as it started to go above my height, right, the water, what started to happen is I could no longer feel the ground. So my legs were not touching down because either the weights were too light for me or I was just not going down enough. So every time I was walking, my toes were peeling off, and you know how it feels? It feels like you are in like gravity, like there's nothing, because you can't touch, neither can you swim. So we'd ask them, like, if we get a bit scared, can we start swimming in a horizontal way? But that was not allowed. So I was like, okay, I can't swim, which is my natural instinct. I can't touch the ground. I'm trying to cycle, but that's not keeping me afloat either. So it was a very, not a very good experience because I just wasn't able to do it. At the same time, I have lenses. So I wear lenses and my number is -4, which is distance. So when you're in the pool, you can't wear your lenses. I couldn't wear my glasses. So how it felt to me inside the water was I couldn't see. Everything was blurry because I didn't have anything on. Along with that, my legs are not touching the ground. So I felt like I was in a dark abyss, just floating and trying to kick around, trying to come back to the top. So it was a very strange experience for me. And then the divers obviously noticed that I was struggling. So they came and pushed me back up, took me back to the safe side, and then they asked me if I want to try again. And at this time, I was super motivated. I was like, no, I have to do this. I'm going again. I have to try again. And they said, okay. So I got a second chance and I tried again, and the same thing happened. My feet were not sinking down. And I kept trying to say that why is this not working? I can't go down. And I was like, because then if your feet touch the ground, at least you can kick off the ground and walk, right? You feel something. Not that you're in the middle of nothing, not head down, feet not touching, you're literally in the middle. So that wasn't happening. And then I said, okay, I want to go a third time. And I tried it and it did not work. And I just kept kicking in the water because I was getting a little frustrated even with myself, because I was like, yo, you were supposed to do it this time. How is it not happening? So I started to thrash and try to push myself forward in the water, but obviously it doesn't work, and they want you to be under the water, not over it. So the divers came and took me back to the safe side once again. And the judges were not very happy with my performance. They were kind of disappointed because they thought maybe this time I would make it. But I think more than their disappointment, I was disappointed because I had told myself that I would do it and it still wasn't happening. So it was a very, disappointing and frustrating experience for me as a person. And as I was saying in the beginning of the video, this has not happened to me before. So even my reactions were like novel. I'd never experienced this. Normally in school, like an example is if I would not fail, I've never failed tests, but if I would not do well, like I think in chemistry one time I didn't do very well and it really riled me up. I was like, how am I not doing well? I'm gonna work 10 times harder and do really well the next time. And then the next prelim, I topped the class in that chemistry exam. So it was just something that if I don't do well, I work really, really, really hard to make sure I do well in that skill set the next time. Because something in me is not able to take letting myself down very well. And so this public experience of not being able to perform it felt horrible. I was not able to understand what was going on. And as I got out of the pool, I had a lot of shame. I had a lot of guilt, and I didn't feel great at all. I really just wanted to stand there and cry, honestly. But you're on camera and everyone's around you and they're all wondering why you're not able to do it, and there's no response at that point, because you first of all are dealing with feelings of shame and guilt of failing again, and that too on national television, when actually you're very used to being looked at as a winner, appreciated, admired. And I also had a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, so I liked to be appreciated and admired, and I didn't like that people were looking down on me or telling me that I'm not good enough. And that was really not working for me. I was really not okay with that. So when this task got over, I was not in a good mental space at all. I was very unhappy with my performance, and I was like, are you serious? Like, I didn't come on television to lose. Like, this is not what I want to do. But in hindsight now, I know that the entire experience of losing was one of the best things that could have happened to me, because it taught me so much and brought me here. But obviously in that moment, you're not thinking anything like this. You're thinking, how did this happen? And so that ended my journey with the second task, which is the ramp walk underwater. Obviously, I didn't get selected for the shortlist task in the next round because I couldn't complete the task. However, two other girls who had been rejected with me, Anushka and Sakshi, they both were good swimmers and they made it through the task, and I was really, really happy for them, and they were able to go into the shortlist task. The shortlist task at this point was doing a photo shoot with two of our judges, so they kind of were able to do that and get some points. On the other hand, me and Renu or Rene did not make it, and we were at home once again in the model house for half a day, while these girls went to do their task. So this is what happened. And not to mention the humiliation that you face later on, right? When you're in front of the judges, because they're just like, yo, what is going on? Why are you not performing? And I remember one of the judges was asked to speak to us, to motivate us. And I was like, motivation I have, it's there. I'm just not able to convert it for some reason on the show. And there were many reasons, but I was not able to translate it. And it felt horrible, basically. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It didn't feel good at all. I was already very upset. I was crying, and it was a wipeout. And the only thing I was trying to tell myself is just focus on the next task, because again, you don't know what it is, but you just want to try your best and then see what comes out of it, because now you're already here. There's no way to leave the show. You're on it. You have to do it no matter what task comes. So just try your best and keep your spirits up. And that's all I could tell myself. And before I end this video, I'll also say that I'm not somebody who cries. Usually I'm actually a very happy person. As you can see, I don't cry. So that show also, it was such a strange experience for me, because I was mainly crying throughout. And it was weird because I don't do that. But I think the failure and the loss was affecting me so much that I did not know, can I really be happy when I failed? Like, it was a very existential question. Do I have the right to be joyful, happy, and expressive when I'm failing? Or do I have to be sad, gloomy, and like downtrodden? So it was a very unique thing to think about, and a unique experience, because it had never happened to me before. So that's it for this particular video with the underwater ramp walk. I hope you could relate to some of my emotions. Maybe you failed at something that you never thought you would fail at. And maybe you too have been a winner all your life, and then it's like, suddenly, what is this, new thing you have to deal with? And it takes a toll sometimes on you and your mental health, and you have to recover, bounce back, and rise and shine once again. But if you've been through it as well, I understand. And it gets better over time. 2 years later now, as I say this, the same emotions are not getting stirred in me. I'm able to just narrate the events without getting emotionally caught in them, which is such a huge difference. I think a year ago, every time I spoke about this, I would start crying. So it gets better. There's a lot of healing, and we all improve and grow with time. So If you're somewhere in this journey feeling stuck, just remember it gets easier. All right, that's it from me today. Peace out, and I will see you in the next one.